Welcome back to the Barrel Zone. 5th of April, Monday morning. We have tons of NBA basketball and MLB baseball as always to break down. Got down to like 30-ish minutes through the last stream. I will try to do the same. So we will talk like 10 to 12 minutes of NBA and then some baseball. If you want to tell my picks, you can go to patreon.com/slash the barrel zone. If you have any comment or feedback, you know where to find me on Twitter at the barrel zone. We will get right into it. First game on the board, we are starting with NBA as always. Detroit Pistons at the OKC Thunder. Spread is around 3 everywhere. This opened up at 2, and we've seen some Detroit money coming in. I kind of agree with it. OKC is probably the team that is tanking the most from an organization perspective. They are trading and sitting out everyone. OKC will be without Horford, SGA, Dort, Beasley, and Muscala. This is also a third game in 4 nights for them, and they did have to travel. For Detroit, we won't have Plumlee and Ellington. Both teams are pretty bad. OKC 3-7 in the last 10. Detroit 4-6 in the last 10. Both are in my bottom 5. Detroit has been like a bit better, like still serviceable. They are obviously still trying to lose. I'm not getting involved with teams that are trying to lose, but I think they still have some kind of defense, and the offense is. I mean, they still do have Grant, and the Thunder don't have anyone at this point on the active roster who is better than Grant, in my opinion. So yeah, Detroit at least shows up a few times a week. I make this 2.5. No bet from me. Stay away from these teams and stay away from the Wizards and the Raptors. Also, Raptors 2-8 in the last 10. Wizards 3-7. Both teams are in the bottom 7 of the rankings. Both are trying to lose actively. Spread is Raptors -4.5. I make this 6.5 with everyone in, but Lowry is already announced out, and Fred is questionable. He had strained flexor. MRI came back clean. Likely will play the next game, but I'm thinking he will sit this one out. For Wizards, Beal is questionable. Hachimura also questionable. Obviously, 2 key starters. I think 2 of their 3 best players. Beal has been out for 4 games. There is no reason to hurry him back. I think he is going to sit. To me, the Lowry and the Beal injury kind of cancel each other out. I'm leaning Raptors. I think they still have a better base. We've seen them play better without Lowry. But I mean, these 2 teams are unbackable. Exactly the a similar tier to Detroit and OKC. I mean, these 2 games to kick off the week, kind of awesome, right? All right, New York Knicks at Brooklyn Nets. Spread is 5.5. Brooklyn laying 5.5. Brooklyn playing a back-to-back with travel. Last night, KD and Harden were both out, and Kyrie was the only guy in. He played 39 minutes in a loss. Tonight will be pretty interesting. KD is very close to returning. It was a rumor that he will play here, but then the rumor was kind of shut down. They said it's an outside possibility. I'm kinda thinking he's doubtful to play here. But Harden should be back. So Nash said that Harden could have been playing if this was a playoff game. I'm expecting him to play here, but on the other end, we could see Kyrie sitting after playing almost 40 minutes. It's not very likely, but we could see that happening. So it's a difficult handicap as we don't know if Harden, Kyrie, or KD will play. I have a guess. I'm guessing both Harden and Kyrie will play. And I would make this around -6, Brooklyn -6, if that is the case. Obviously, Mitchell Robinson still out for the Knicks. They were in the 4th seed like a few days ago now, sitting at the 7th seed. I'm expecting them to finish around 8th or 9th. They have a pretty tough remaining schedule. I'm not really liking the offensive, what I see on the offensive end. Obviously, they grade as the best defense in the league. They played the Nets already twice. Both games were pretty close. Nets won by 5 and 7. So it's basically the best offense in the league meeting the best defense, but really the Knicks don't have anything to show on the offensive end, and that's why I'm leaning towards the Nets. I make it 5.5. As I said, I'm expecting Harden and Kyrie both to play, but it's not a lock. You cannot really bet this game until they are confirmed in. Sacramento Kings at the Minnesota Timberwolves. 2.5 is a spread with the Kings. If this stays the spread on sharper books, I'm liking the Kings here. Minnesota with the worst record in the league, 12-38. They are 3-7 in the last 10. Team is just struggling mightily. They are grading in the bottom 5 on both sides of the ball, not just through the season, but through the last 2 weeks as well. Kings, at least offensively, they are kind of working right now with Bagley out. They are 6-4 in the last 10. The last 2 weeks, they are grading 4th in offensive points per possession. Defense is still dog shit, but I mean, they don't really need to play any defense if they are scoring as much as they do. Rebounding, turnover rate, pretty equal. Mid-range shots for the Kings, they put up the 10th most mid-range shots. They are 6th in field goal percentage, while the Minnesota defense grades 18th. I think the matchup is pretty okay for the Kings. I think they will be able to hit the shots. For Minnesota, Beasley is out, Russell is out, Rubio is out, and they really aren't trying to win, while the Kings are kind of trying, in my opinion. They are one win away from a play-in spot, and the difference between these two offenses is huge. Kings are putting up more than 10 points more per 100 possessions than Minnesota. So I think the Kings, as a slight road favorite, are the look here. 2.5. I think it's fair. I'm leaning towards making this 3.5 a bit more with the injuries. So yeah, I think the Kings are a nice look here. I will be fading the Wolves, and we don't really have to pay any extra here. Utah Jazz at the Dallas Mavericks. Utah laying 5.5. Porzingis and Richardson are questionable for the Mavs. Obviously, if they are out, that would be a sizable hit. We are talking about 2 starters. Porzingis obviously a key player for this squad. He has a sprained wrist. We will see how this goes. Both teams have been really hot. I don't have to tell you about the Utah Jazz. They are grading as the best offense and the best defense through the last 2 weeks with a plus 23 point differential on average. Went 8-0 in the last 2 weeks with a plus 10 ATS differential. Insanely good. Both teams are really good at defending the three-pointer. I think this could be kind of a slower paced, lower scoring game if the perimeter defenses show up, which I expect them to do. The Mavericks have been graded as the 5th best of defense in the last 2 weeks, which is insanely good for them. This is a team that's grading 22nd in points per possession allowed defensively. They have been stepping it up on the defensive end. I really like to see that. They are enjoying the easy part of their schedule. Obviously, this game won't be easy, but overall, I'm really don't want to step in front of either of these teams. Obviously, have to favor Utah, but they are laying 5.5 points on the road. If Porzingis is out, I would make this like 6.5, maybe 7. So. If you can grab like a 5.5 if he is announced out, then I would look at the Jazz, but no wager from me here. This will be just a great game to watch, and I think this is a good test for the Mavericks. We will see how they fare against the team that's playing the best right now in the league. Cleveland Cavaliers at the San Antonio Spurs. 9 is a spread. That's insane. The Spurs are a bad team, but Cleveland is right now likely the worst team in the league. They are grading as the 30th in points per possession, not just through the entire season, but through the last 2 weeks as well. They hold a minus 16 point differential. They lost 5 straight. We also didn't get an official injury report from them last night, so I can just assume what the injuries will be. So Allen and Nance are likely going to be questionable again. A huge part of the team, obviously, basically this is their front court. But I have to know that Kevin Love was back and he had a double double, his first of the season. So some help is coming from for this injury-ridden front court. But I mean, you cannot back Cleveland here really. I make this 6.5 if everyone is in for the Cavs. Number is kind of assuming that Allen and Nance will sit. I don't really know. I wouldn't really bet this either way. Spurs, I mean, they are 3-7 in the last 10, lost two straight. ATS, they are the second worst team in the last 2 weeks with a minus 7.4 point differential against the closing spread. Through the season, they are also one of the worst ATS teams. This is not a team that's going to cover 9 points, but I mean, the Cleveland squad is unbackable here. Final game of the NBA slate, and then we will talk some baseball. Phoenix Suns at the Houston Rockets. Phoenix laying 10.5. It's a bit juiced on Bet365. I make this 12, so slight edge on the Phoenix side. Especially as Wall is doubtful to play tonight. Houston playing their third game in 4 nights. It's also a back-to-back, although just a home back-to-back for them. My biggest reason is why I'm leaning towards Phoenix. Not just Wall out. KPG has been playing pretty bad in some games recently, and Christian Wood. I mean, he isn't really trying. Rockets brought in some bigs, and the guys like Olenek and getting more touches than Wood. I don't really like. Zero effort from Wood, obviously. Zero effort from the Houston team. So I think 10.5, even if it's a juiced, I think is a fair look, and I kind of would lean towards the Suns. Overall, they sit at the second spot in the West. I think they will finish the season second. They are 3.5 games back from the Jazz. They still meet twice for the rest of the season, but the Suns have the fourth most difficult remaining schedule. They play Brooklyn, Milwaukee, the Clippers, Philly. So yeah, if something, I think this will be close in the end between the Suns and the Clippers for the second seed, but we will see how this plays out. All right, so summing it up on the NBA end, I really like the Kings. Hopefully, this number will stay on the board with the Pinnacle and the other sharp books opening up. I think Phoenix should be 12 and a half. So 10.5 is a nice look if you are about laying double digits at this point in the season. And yeah, kind of that's about it. All right, let's talk some MLB. I'm putting up the screen and we will start. All right, so pretty big slate. This is the 5th day of the season. I have to tell you, I mean, most teams are either playing the 4th or 5th game, and we will see these starters, the 4th, 5th starters. These are typically pretty bad pitchers. I mean, pitching has been terrible in the last few seasons, getting worse from season to season. But I think this year it's likely the worst we've seen so far. So I will be skipping some games here. There are some guys I kind of barely heard of. Some guys who haven't been pitching in years. Interesting one, but yeah, there are I think a couple of spots that are kind of nice. So first game, Minnesota at Detroit. Shoemaker at Ukraina. Shoemaker is, I think, an interesting guy. I will be looking at him. I want to back him. The last full season Shoemaker pitched was 2016. He was the Rookie of the Year in 2014. But since 2016, he pitched a total of 150 innings. So yeah, like we've seen him go like 30-ish innings in the last few seasons, battled tons of injuries. But I think despite him being like pretty old, I think he's like 35 years old or so, the mileage is very low, and I think he has pretty good stuff. I think he has top 100 pitcher upside easily. Good swinging strike rates, almost a 50% ground ball rate. I really like exit velocity, launch angle is all nice, and he's with Minnesota now, and this is a team that knows how to develop pitchers. And as I said, I mean, he had some injuries, but I mean, the mileage is low, and I still think he can be serviceable for a few more years. On the other end, I mean, Urena has a six over six Sierra from last season. His average exit velocity was like 91 miles per hour. Extremely low ground ball rate, a K rate under 15%. This dude was a laughing stock, and is a laughing stock for years now. He had like 3, 4 terrible seasons back to back to back. Yeah, I think I make this like Minnesota minus 135. The price is 142 on Pinnacle. I'm looking at this game actively. If we see any kind of Detroit money, I mean, they have started the season 2-2. Maybe people are thinking that they are not terrible like they are. I'm really liking Shoemaker. This is also the early game. I will be 100% watching him pitch here. But yeah, I think if you need like a parlay piece or just want to take a flyer on this, I think Minnesota isn't the worst look, but I would need a better price to play this. Toronto at Texas, Mats at Fultonevich. Yeah, Steven Matz is an interesting guy. He's getting tons of credit here. In laying almost minus 160 on the road. But I mean, you can see why Fulte pitched like 3 innings last season. He had like a 16 ERA in the 3 innings. The spring was going extremely bad. Also, he pitched 8 innings in the spring training and gave up 15 hits, 4 walks, and 9 earned runs. I mean, I don't even know when we've seen Faulty pitch well. I think like maybe 2, 3 years ago when he was with Atlanta. But I mean, I have to see him put it together, and Texas isn't really the team that makes me want to think that he will put it together. Mats is interesting. I think he has nice upside. Obviously, his ERA was like 5 runs above his Sierra last season. 25% K rate, low walk rate. He gave up tons of hard contact, like 91 mile per hour average exit velocity, 40% hard contact, 15-degree average launch angle. So yeah, there were some red flags. He had a huge home run issue, like 40% home run to fly ball ratio. Obviously, that will regress positively, but I think everything is really priced in here. He's given a lot of credit, and we will see if he will step up or not. Casey at Cleveland, the Duffy at Logan Allen. Logan Allen is a really, really interesting guy. He just pitched 10 innings last year. Underlying numbers were very ugly, but he's 23 years old, which is basically a baby in baseball years. And this spring, Allen pitched 14 innings and he had a 0.64 ERA, 18 strikeouts in 14 innings with just 9 hits and 3 walks. Cleveland is always known of finding good pitching talent. I think Allen might be maybe the next guy. I will be watching this game also. Obviously, Cleveland's offense didn't really show up until now. People are all already hating on them, but they were a bad offense last season. I don't think there is anything surprising here. I think the line is right. I want to see Allen obviously before I'm putting money on him, but I think he's promising. And as for Duffy, I mean, we know who he is. He's like a 4.5 ERA guy, nothing special but serviceable. Baltimore at New York, Montgomery Lopez. Price is where it should be. I make this New York minus 223. Line is minus 234, so nothing to do here. St. Louis at Miami, Ponce de Leon at Rogers. I think the line is really, really nice. They're giving Miami some credit. Miami is laying minus 113. Daniel Ponce de Leon, he had a huge walk issue last season. He always has a walk issue. He had a 14% walk rate last season. And this season, through the spring training, he walked 13 guys in 17 innings. So yeah, I don't think he's fixed. Obviously, Cardinals are overall the better team, but Rogers is a nice arm. He's, I think, the fourth starter for Miami. Strong ground ball rate, like the rest of the team, basically. Yeah, I think the line is right. They are giving the credit to Rogers. Obviously, Miami is a super tough team to back. But on the pitching side, they are all right. And as I said, I think Ponce de Leon will be a guy we will be fading a lot this season. But this isn't a team in Miami that can really like chain together hits and hurt him. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati, Brubaker at Jose de Leon, I think. Sorry if I slaughtered that. So yeah, de Leon is a guy who had 29 total MLB innings since 2016. 29 innings since 2016, and he has a 6.87 FIP. So yeah, he's not an MLB level pitcher. This is basically what I was talking about before I started breaking down the slate. Zero upside, in my opinion. I would be banging Pittsburgh here if Hayes went down with injury for Pittsburgh. If that didn't happen, obviously I would be on them. And Brubaker, I think he is really an analytics darling guy. A lot of guys I talk to are very high on him. Last year he had some nice underlying numbers, almost a 12% swinging strike rate, 47% ground ball rate, sub 30% hard hit rate. Many are thinking that Brubaker is a nice sleeper for the season, but his spring was terrible, struggled with lots of hard contact, lots of home runs. He had some walk issues last season. So it's a guy that I need to see put it together before I can back him. Pittsburgh, obviously, one of the GOAT pitching development teams. I think they can kind of bring out his ceiling, but I would really need to see it. But as I said, if Hayes was in and Brubaker would have like an okay spring, I would bet Pittsburgh. But I mean, Cincinnati is extremely overpriced here, like minus 150 with a guy who's not nearly MLB level. I don't think the guy will be in the league in like 3 months. But I mean, he could be. Pitching is just so bad. Mets at Philly, DeGrom Moore, skipping this one. DeGrom obviously missed the first start because they were supposed to play the Nationals. They had the COVID outbreak. His start was pushed back, laying minus 200 on the road against the legit Philly team is a no-go for me. Tampa Bay at Boston, Vaca, Pivetta, skipping this one as well. Both guys have like 6 plus ERAs from the last season. I have been fading both like crazy. Really don't want to get involved with either guy. If we something promising and they can chain together 2-3 good games, then I might look into them. But I mean, I'm giving zero credit to both of these guys. Milwaukee at the Cubs, Brian Anderson, Trevor Williams. This is an interesting game. Brett Anderson, sorry, season just starting and I'm terrible with names. It has been a long off season and I haven't used all right. So yeah, Brett Anderson, he had a great spring training. He pitched more than 20 innings, one of the few guys who did pitch this much. He had a 2.66 ERA, 16 strikeouts in 20 innings to just go with four walks. I think Anderson is a good pitcher if he can stay healthy. He is the extreme ground baller guy. Milwaukee has tons of guys like him. Last season, he pitched 50 innings. He had a 57% ground ball rate, only a 5% walk rate. Average launch angle was 3.7 degrees. Obviously, he has a relatively high contact rate, but difficult to hurt. He doesn't give up too many line balls or quality contact. I kind of like his profile. I prefer more like guys who miss bats, but if you can keep the ball on the ground, that's fine by me. Trevor Williams, on the other end, I really followed him closely when he was back with Pittsburgh. He had the 1 or 2 seasons where he was basically impossible to hurt despite posting so bad underlying numbers, but he's limiting hard contact really well. Has a really low average exit velo, like 86%, 86 miles per hour. But yeah, last season he was pretty bad. 4.84 Sierra. Righties killed him. He had an 8.5 FIP against righties with a 4.53 W WOBA. Sorry. Yeah, and the other thing to me is the Cubs. I mean, the roster is like largely unchanged from last season, and they also had trouble with lefties, especially ground ball lefties. So I'm kind of leaning towards Milwaukee here. I think Anderson looks healthy to me. Spring went great. Milwaukee overall, in my opinion, is the better team than the Cubs this season. Yeah, Trevor Williams is a difficult guy to fade as especially with a team that really doesn't have that much power like Milwaukee, and it's a super top heavy team. If the big guys aren't hitting, and they haven't been hitting so far, they have a 24 WRC plus. Milwaukee, obviously, very low sample size. But I think Milwaukee really shouldn't be dogs here. And I think it could warrant a look. Houston at LA, Garcia at Quintana. I really wanted to go in and back Quintana here. Garcia is a guy who never pitched above Class A ball up until last year, and he had 12 innings at the end of the season with Houston. He had one start, couple of relief outings, but he has 12 innings in the MLB, and he only has Class A experience besides that. And yeah, he wasn't really looking that good, in my opinion. Obviously, Houston can also develop guys. We will see how he looks. But I really wanted to fade him. Quintana, on the other end, I mean, I think this is the guy I lost the most money on in the last like 5 years betting baseball. He only pitched 10 innings last year, but in the spring he was rolling up until the last start. He pitched 19 innings, have a 3.32 ERA, 22 strikeouts in those 19 innings. And in the last outing, his velocity dropped like 2 miles per hour and gave up like 4 home runs. And then I remembered, like, this is Quintana, and I don't really want to fuck with this dude again. Yeah, so the home run problem, the velocity problem, he really cannot stay healthy. We will see what this turns out. But I think he may be underpriced when we are looking back like weeks from now, and if he really looks healthy. And yeah, it was promising in the spring, as I said. And I mean, Garcia is nothing special. Also, I'm skipping this game as there will be no Otani for the Angels. Very top heavy team. We will see Trout and Rendon, but they don't have anyone really else who can hit the ball. Houston started the season super strong. They have a 162 WRC plus so far, obviously very low sample size, but I'm high on Houston coming into the season. And I mean, they could maybe develop Garcia into something. So I'm skipping the game, but this is one to look at. I have to watch both guys and see what's up with them. May at Montas, Dodgers at the Oakland Athletics. May minus 154 road favorite. Yeah, this was a game where when I ran my numbers, I had a huge edge on Oakland. I make LA minus 125. And then I looked into it and I understood why the line is where it is. So first of all, Montas only had pitched three outings during the spring training, and his longest outing was 3 innings. When I remember last season that he started the year like pitching 4 innings, I think, in his first outing. So I'm expecting to see that again. He will go like 3, maybe 4 innings. And yeah, and his spring wasn't even that good. On the other hand, May is a guy I really want to back. I like his profile. He's a regression candidate. Had a 2.5 ERA against the 4+ Sierra last season, but he has a 55% ground ball rate, 29% hard hit rate. Overall, I really like him, and but he had some extreme splits last season. He was great against righties and terrible against lefties. But if you look at this Oakland lineup, it's extremely right-handed heavy. Besides Matt Olson and maybe Moreland, they don't have any lefties who can hit the ball. And then the injuries. Sean Murphy, the catcher, is out. Ramon Laureano was also is also questionable. Um, and I mean, he is in the top of the lineup, one of the better guys. I think maybe Chapman could be better than him. But yeah, not enough lefties, injuries, question marks all around Montas's. Basically, how we really don't know how he will start the season. And coming into the season, I really wanted to fade Oakland. They have a 67 WRC plus so far. I'm really low on them this season. So yeah, I'm skipping this game, but I totally understand if you are just going by your numbers, you will show an edge on Oakland here. Plus 142 at home looks awfully enticing. Yeah, let's go to the next game. San Francisco at San Diego de Sclafani. Tony Disco. This guy, I really liked his stuff. I think, yeah, he was with Cincinnati. But he cannot fix his walk rate. He had like a 10% walk rate, Tony Disco, last season. The Giants are very smart with pitchers. Again, I mean, analytics is really strong around that team. They might end up fixing him. I really liked his stuff. I think he had some extreme splits. Maybe lefties were hurting him a lot. But the walk rate was the main issue with Tony Disco. Basically, through the last few years, I'm kind of off him until we see him consistently show good control. Haven't seen yet. So yeah, obviously Padres almost minus 200 favorites, and they should be. Final game of the day, and this is a really interesting one. Carlos Rodon at Sheffield, the White Sox at Seattle. White Sox laying minus 126 on the road. If you look at the stats, Carlos Rodon had an 8+ ERA last season. I mean, he is a guy that has been hurt by injuries a lot. He only had 4 outings last season. He was an opener, and then he had like 2 bullpen outings. But I mean, he had an 8 ERA. But the underlying numbers weren't that bad. Like he had a sub-5 FIP. 2018 was his last full season. So he pitched 7 innings in 2020, 34 innings in 2019, and 2018 was his last full season. But this is a guy I'm buying. I think he has easily top 100, maybe top 50 upside. He was always known as a talented guy that couldn't really put it together, mainly because of his injuries. But this spring, he pitched 13 innings and he had 16 strikeouts in 13 innings and only just 1 walk and 2 earned runs. Everyone is super high on him. The guys I talk to really think that this could be his year when he is finally healthy with a good team and can put it together. So yeah, I'm liking Rodon here as a slight road favorite. On the other end, Sheffield, young guy for Seattle. Is a slight regression candidate, not that slight even. He had his Sierra was 1 run higher than his ERA last season. He was lucky enough to get hold of 4% home run to fly ball ratio and he has a 90-mile plus average exit velocity. That's not maintainable. I think he will give up home runs. He had an 82% contact rate last year, going up against a super strong White Sox team. That's really bad. 8% swinging strike rate. Young guy, as I said, there are. I mean, great ground ball rate. He has some flashes, and I think he might turn into a decent pitcher. Not sure that will happen with Seattle though. But I think this game, if you look deep into it, this is a huge mismatch. Last season, the worst team in the league against lefties was Seattle, and the best team against lefties in WRC plus was the White Sox. And these are two lefties. So yeah, on one side there is a guy with a huge upside who was never healthy, but he is on a great team that's great against lefties. Finally, looking like he put it together. On the other end, Seattle, the worst bullpen, I think, in my opinion, in the game. Sheffield still has a super high contact rate. The White Sox, we know that they will make contact. I think, Sheffield will get hit here, and we might see a nice outing out of Rodon. All right, summing it up, this was a pretty long stream again. I'm looking at Shoemaker with Minnesota. Price isn't right yet, but if this would come down a bit, I would get on Minnesota in a heartbeat. I'm liking Milwaukee. I think Trevor Williams is not good. Anderson is looking healthy. I think Milwaukee is the better team. They were kind of dogs. Basically, this is a pick'em game. And then I like the White Sox on the road as slight favorites. I think the price already moved. This was around -1, like 18 before. You might be able to find a similar line, but I think everyone who looks really deep into games will be on the White Sox here if you understand what these two guys are about. All right, thanks for tuning in. This is it for today. I will be back tomorrow. We are streaming on all weekdays, taking the weekends off. That will be the fixed schedule from now on. If you want to tell my plays, you can go to patreon.com/thebarrelzone and join the crew. Otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow. Good luck with your wagers as always, and enjoy Easter Monday if you are about that.